I'm Edge of Blade, and can I get a word in edgewise? So I've been off for a few weeks having a son, thank you very much, and I've been thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this little segment. And I've been seeing a lot of arguments about Oculus Rift versus HTC Vive, and a lot of chest beating about which one's better, the kind that we usually see in console wars. So I wanted to address this for a second and actually break down the Rift and the Vive beyond just what they offer in the box and look to the future a little bit and see if we can see which one would be more successful. First, let's talk about the Oculus Rift. What do you get in the box for, $600? You get the optics, the headset, and you get headphones attached to the headset. You get a sensor to track the headset using the Constellation system, and then you get an Xbox One wireless controller with the USB attachment. For the HTC Vive, you pay $800 for that, so $200 more. And what do you get in that? Well, you get the same optics again, and from all comparisons I've seen, the screens, the field of view, they're all very similar. The differences here is the Vive has a camera built onto the front, which has been mostly billed as being useful for the room scale experiences, letting you know when you're about to hit a wall or something else. And then you have the motion controllers, which is something that Oculus Rift has planned, but hasn't really shared their plans for release yet, or the price. And also the Vive has a sensor, which compared to the Oculus Rift sensor is supposed to, again, track this mythical room scale experience. That's the comparison. The question I really have is, do the Vive's camera, motion controllers, and enhanced sensor really make up for this $200 difference? Let's say Oculus Rift's reasons for being a better headset are it has audio built into it, which is also removable in case you didn't know, and objectively speaking, they have a much better support from developers at launch, including more AAA game titles like Eve Valkyrie. Now with the HTC Vive, I have three notes here. The first one is camera and smartphone integration. To me, those are mostly gimmicks. It'd be nice to have a camera on the headset so you can kind of look through your experience, maybe to see your keyboard or your flight controls or the person who just walked in the room. And the smartphone integration, it connects to your phone. You could play music, you could answer calls. That's pretty superfluous for this kind of experience, I think. Then you have these motion controllers. Now, I have a problem with saying the motion controllers are what makes this far and away the better experience. Because we've seen motion controllers, we've seen them come back, and then we've seen them die again. Let's talk about it for a second. The Wii brought back the motion control. It was a great success. Everyone was playing Wii Sports, much to the chagrin of the attach rate, but it was very popular. People are still playing Wii Bowling, Wii Golf. But then you go to the Wii U, and motion controls, they're still there, they are available, but I don't see them used a lot. Then we talk about the Xbox 360 Kinect, which was really our first shot at this kind of large-scale, almost room-scale motion controller experience. They did a lot of really cool things, like in Kinect Adventures, you'd have the game where you're batting around the balls in this kind of 3D Pong or breakout kind of game. I found that was a lot of fun. I thought that was well done, because it was this amazing one-to-one motion control. Your body was in the game. And then we went to the Xbox One Kinect and the whole fiasco of it being included with the Xbox One. That's the way I received mine. But honestly, I don't use it for motion anything right now. In fact, I have my camera covered most of the time. I use it mostly for its audio capabilities, which are, to be frank, quite useful in my entertainment center at least. And then we also have the Sony Move. And that's really only significant because, one, it was nowhere near as popular as the Wii or the Kinect. But they are being still recycled for Sony's, PlayStation VR / Project Morpheus, whatever it's going to be called. The point I want to make here is we've seen motion controllers, and the market has largely said we want to have seated experiences. Now, I don't see that changing much with VR, which takes me into my next point, is this idea of room scale VR. Like I said, Kinect did room scale, and to be honest, the Xbox One Kinect did this even better. It had a wider field of view, it had better tracking, it had everything going for it, and it's being virtually unused now. Then you have the problem that all of these headsets are not wireless, they are all wired. And that is going to, become a tripping hazard. It's become a breakage hazard. There's a lot of expensive equipment going into VR right now. I'm not sure any of us wants to risk that on, trailing a cable behind us. Then let's also talk about what kind of quality of experience we're really going to have with room scale. Because what do we have? A 15 by 15 square? What can you really do with that? I could walk around a game board in 15 by 15. If it's like a big, scale game like one of Johnny's Twilight Imperium games. Yeah, you could walk around that in 15 feet. But there's not a whole lot you can do with that. You're going to have, what is it, a room breakout simulator? You could do that maybe. Kind of boring. And from my understanding, they had to introduce a teleportation mechanic to the game to make it work inside the play area. Now, all these things, to me, work against the HTC Vive, only because I don't think they will be that relevant. I think it's nice that someone went out on a limb and made these experiences room scale, but I don't think it's going to have any mass market appeal. We're still in this very early adopter phase, where we see all of these new things and we think everything's just, the greatest. But whenever it hits the mass market, that's where the money is, and that's where it's going to catch its footing. It's going to become legitimized. And I don't see the motion controllers or the room scale being the biggest selling points. So, the final question is, does the HTC Vive justify its $200 markup? And I can say, pretty honestly, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Oculus Rift is going to have its own motion controllers, and then even if they cost $200, they'll still be optional. What I said about how much money is going into VR is very important. How much money do you want to spend on your VR experience? If you're anything like me, you'd like to spend the least amount on the least important things. For me, the Rift covers all of the basic touch points, and it does so well. So I may be a little biased because my pre-order is, of course, for an Oculus Rift non-HTC Vive. So if I had a Vive pre-order, I may be arguing things differently. But to be as objective as I can, I really do not see the necessity of these extra features. This has been a Word in Edgewise. I'm Edge Blade. This has been a Warlocks Entertainment System production. Check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/warpod. And also talk to us on Twitter at Warlocks Brew. We also have a page on Facebook, which should be pretty easy to find. And don't forget to